Here is a question that might stay with you long after this video ends. Think back to the last time you told yourself, someday I will get in shape. Someday I will start that business. Someday I will finally become the person I always knew I could be. Or now honestly ask yourself, how long ago was that thought? Abraham Maslow spent decades of his career studying what human beings are truly capable of. His conclusion: only 1 to 2% of people ever truly reach their full potential. Just 1 to 2%. Which means 98% never unlock what they were actually capable of, not because they couldn't, but because of invisible forces working against them every single day. Not because they couldn't, but because of invisible forces working against them every single day. Today we look at exactly what those forces are, and what the 1% do differently. The first reason most people never reach their potential has nothing to do with intelligence. Your brain was not designed to help you succeed. It was designed to keep you alive. For most of human history, staying alive meant one thing above everything: avoid the unfamiliar. Psychologists call this the negativity bias. Your brain is 3 times more reactive to threats than to rewards. Every time you consider doing something genuinely new, your brain calculates the cost of failure as greater than the reward of success. The result: you drift back toward comfort, not out of weakness, because your brain is doing precisely what it was built to do. Growth only happens outside your comfort zone, but the brain experiences that zone as danger, even when it is completely safe. This is the first invisible wall between you and your potential, and most people never even see it. The people who break through this wall are not braver, they simply understand what the wall is made of. Fear of failure is one of the single greatest predictors of underachievement. Not lack of talent, not lack of opportunity, fear. Most people grew up being praised for results, not for the courage of attempting. That equation follows you for life. Fear of failure is not about the failure. It is about what the failure means to the story you tell yourself about who you are. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck spent more than 3 decades studying this dynamic. Her research changed how we understand human potential. She found that people with a fixed mindset avoid challenges to protect their identity. People with a growth mindset lean into them. Those with a growth mindset treat failure as feedback. Those with a fixed mindset treat it as proof of inadequacy. The research showed the difference in outcomes between these two groups was not talent, it was belief about what talent is. Mindset is not permanent, but it changes only once you recognize which one has been quietly running your decisions. For decades, procrastination was treated as a time management problem. Modern research has proven this fundamentally wrong. Dr. Fuskia Sirwa at Durham University defines procrastination as an emotion regulation failure, not a time management failure. 88% of workers admit to procrastinating for at least 1 full hour every single workday. That is 250 hours per person per year. In the 1970s, 5% of adults were chronic procrastinators. Today that number is between 20 and 25%, a 4-fold increase. Every avoidance adds shame to the task. More shame means heavier avoidance. The cycle feeds itself until the task feels immovable. Procrastination is not laziness. It is fear in slow motion, and it quietly consumes years of potential that will never return. The emotion regulation failure doesn't feel like fear. It feels like not being ready, not being good enough yet, not the right moment. Recognizing procrastination as emotional, not moral, is the first necessary step toward breaking the loop. Most people were raised with an invisible ceiling, not because of cruelty, because of what was never shown to be possible. Psychologist Corey Wilkes writes that environment is the most under-recognized barrier to self-actualization. If everyone around you held the same expectations for generations, something different doesn't just feel hard, it feels unreal. Research in NPJ Science of Learning confirmed Beliefs about our own capability directly determine the ambitions we allow ourselves to pursue. The people who break through are almost always those who deliberately seek environments larger than the one they were raised in. Every time you expose yourself to someone living beyond your inherited ceiling, the ceiling moves slightly permanently. Environment shapes expectation. Expectation shapes action. Change the environment even deliberately, even temporarily, and the ceiling begins to move. The ceiling is not a physical object. It is a set of beliefs, and beliefs, unlike ceilings, can be reconstructed. Researchers call this the most sustained attention crisis in recorded human history. The average person picks up their phone over 150 times per day. Every single one of those moments was engineered to happen. These platforms were built by teams of behavioral scientists whose professional goal is to make you unable to stop using them. Walter Mischel's Stanford marshmallow experiments showed that delaying immediate reward is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success. The things that actually build your potential offer no immediate reward. They return months or years later, compounded. Deep, sustained focus is the cognitive environment in which potential actually grows. It is also the thing most aggressively under attack. The capacity to sit with discomfort, with boredom, with the absence of reward, is the capacity that reaching your potential requires. What you give your attention to each day is not a small decision. Compounded across a year, it determines the shape of your life. Maslow studied 18 people he believed had reached full self-actualization: Lincoln, Einstein, Eleanor Roosevelt, Frederick Douglass. Every single one of Maslow's self-actualized individuals shared one quality first: deep, unflinching honesty with themselves. They actively sought out discomfort, not recklessly but deliberately, regularly, as a practice. They had purpose beyond their own well-being, something that made the discomfort of growth feel like the price of something worth paying. And they did not rely on external approval to keep going. The drive was internal, not dependent on anyone else's recognition. Modern research points to 3 factors. The first is self-awareness, seeing your own avoidance patterns with precision and honesty. The second factor is implementation intentions, not just deciding to act, but specifying exactly when, where, and how. Research shows this doubles follow-through. The third, and most resisted, is that it has almost nothing to do with motivation. The 1% build systems that work on the days they feel nothing. James Clear writes, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." The 1% are not superhuman. They have simply built structures that make the right actions happen automatically. The gap between who you are today and who you are fully capable of becoming is not a talent gap. It is not a luck gap. It is not a time gap. It is a decision gap. Every single day you choose differently, the gap gets smaller. The forces working against your potential are real. None of them are your fault for having. But not one of them is stronger than a person who has decided to see them clearly and keep moving anyway. If this video shifted something for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. I will see you in the next one.